Hello, what's up guys? I'm Kyle from KGR, and this is the Ultimagear Gold Sarcophagus. Now this thing was released to coincide with the Ultimagear Millennium Puzzle. Now these are both model kits, and as someone who doesn't do model kits, I had to get these because these are really cool. But I got this thing for a couple of reasons, and it wasn't just because of the fact that, oh, I can put my pieces in here, which that's what it's made for. But after watching the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, it had me remember Yugi had a gold sarcophagus where he stored his cards on the Duelist Kingdom boat. He gave Joey a time wizard in that gold sarcophagus, so it had me wondering, can this thing also store cards? And the reason why I'm doing this review, because it's a model kit. Typically, reviews of model kits don't really need to be made, especially as something like this caliber, but I'm coming at it as someone who doesn't do model kits, as someone who's a casual Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and also I wanted to show you how it would look without sanding it, without painting it, just very laziness. But it gives you a realistic expectation on what to expect out of the box if you do the bare minimum. And plus, I wanted to see if this thing can hold some cards in it. But before we get into the review, I want to ask a question of the day. How many of you guys are playing the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel game? I've been playing it myself a lot, and I love it. But I hate it when I face somebody that does combo after combo that lasts like 10 minutes in their first turn, and it's annoying. And when also did you start getting into Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, what era did you get into? I watched the original Yu-Gi-Oh! I started around the Duelist Kingdom / Battle City tournament era, and the Battle City tournament is like the best arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! By far, and I love it so much. But I kind of stopped around when Pendulum Summoning became a thing. But then they started making more support for Blue Eyes and Dark Magician and even Red Eyes, like a lot of like very nostalgic cards. So it makes them more feasible to use nowadays, and I like it a lot. Answer those Yu-Gi-Oh! Questions for me in the comments. I actually read them, so I would love to hear them. But let's get into the box, and then we'll go over the gold sarcophagus itself. Now, I love the aesthetic they have for this. Like, I love like how it looks so nice, and I love how it's holographic, like the cards. And then on the other side, there's absolutely nothing, so that's a model kit. But on this side, as well as the bottom side, it's just the gold sarcophagus. And then on this side, it shows you how you take it off the runners, you snap it together, and bam, there it is. And then you put the pieces of Millennium Puzzle to it. And then in here, it gives you a brief description of how like Yugi's grandfather got it for him in an ancient tomb. And then it says something like how if you, the one who solves me will receive my dark knowledge. And I don't know why I can't memorize that, but okay. Then on the other side, it gives you a breakdown of what all comes in the box. So like you get all the runners, you get the paperwork, like the instructions, stuff like that. It's very simple. So let's take a look at the model kit itself, like after it's all put together. And here it is. Now, like I said, I didn't do any painting, I didn't do any sanding or anything, so this is realistically how it's going to look once you take it off the runners, snap it off, and slap it together. I like it. I like it a lot. There are a lot of nicks that you could sand down, and when it comes to the mold injecting stuff, there's a lot of marbling. So if you don't like the look of the marbling, you probably would want to paint this thing, but I'm fine with it. I think this looks fine by default, but you can definitely make this thing look better. This thing is a good size. It's empty. It's hollow. So that's how it looks on the inside. Also on the bottom, there is no like copyright or anything like that. Like no legal information down here, which is really neat because then it feels more like a really good replica. But it does what it's intended to do. It stores the pieces of the Millennium Puzzle, and it does it fine. Putting this thing together was actually relatively easy. As someone who doesn't do model kits, on a difficulty level, I'd probably put it on a 1 out of 5. The only struggle I really had was like, sometimes it would be a tight fit trying to squeeze it together, so you're scared of breaking it or forcing it together. But yeah, as long as like the certain holes and stuff line up properly, as long as things line up, you're a-okay to just slap it together. And it's very, very easy. You almost don't need the instructions, but if you're not confident in putting it together yourself, just follow the instructions. It's very simple. I had no struggle with it. And I love the inscription of like everything on here. Like the attention to detail is there. On both sides you see the Millennium Eye or the Egyptian Eye, whatever you want to consider that thing. The point is, it's there, and the whole thing looks fantastic. I love the way this thing looks. When it comes to the lid, if you shake it side to side, it won't come off. So that's fine. but it's not magnetic, so if you shake it, it's gonna come off. But this thing is mostly supposed to be a shelf piece. It's not really meant to be like carried around with you. But if you like have a somewhat firm grip on it, as long as you have a good hold of it, if you take it with you, you will be fine. Thankfully, the lining in here, like make sure it doesn't go anywhere in here. Like, they did the best they could, but it would be nice to actually modify this thing with magnets, so you actually can take this thing with you without worrying about it opening and falling all over the place. I just realized this is over here, and we want a good look at the dual desk. I'm sorry about that. But when it comes to my original question, can this thing hold cards? Yes and no. Like here, we have my deck box. I run a Blue Eyes deck personally. What kind of deck do you run if you play Yu-Gi-Oh? So if you open this container and you slap the deck box in here, that's how much room you're gonna have left in it. So yeah, technically you can hold your cards in here. You can also have enough room for coins and dice and anything else you might need for a tournament, except for your mat and maybe a calculator. But it's not gonna really hold all your other cards all that well. It's not a Yu-Gi-Oh tin. Like, sadly, you can't lay the cards like horizontally and have it like a filing. Like, even with the cards being unsleeved, you can't even do that. I've tried. Obviously, they're too tall to be stacked vertically, so it is what it is. Like if it was taller, you could probably file them that way, but we don't want to do that. So if it were like a little bit bigger, you could file them horizontally like that, but sadly, no. But this thing is not intended to do that, so I can't knock off points because it doesn't do that, because that's not what it was intended for. All it is pretty much an accessory to this guy. That's all it's meant to be. And I guess a good piece to look on your shelf. That's it. But that pretty much sums up the review. Like, do I recommend getting this thing? Like, if you're not into model kits, I can recommend this to anybody. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan and you never did a model kit before, this is not intimidating at all. There's no reason to be scared for this. And even pick up the Millennium Puzzle. Clearly the Millennium Puzzle is the coolest thing between the two, but this is just icing on the cake to something that's already amazing. But if you looked at this thing and you thought it was cool from just your initial look at it, you'll probably like this thing a lot. But if you are buying it and expecting more out of it, or you're like, I don't know, then you're not gonna be pleasantly surprised from this. Like, it's cool, but however you think of how it looks on the website, that's how it's pretty much gonna look when you get it. If you're amazed when you saw it, you're gonna be amazed when you put it together. If you think it's meh, you're probably gonna think it's meh. Like, whatever you think of it online, that's how you're gonna feel when you get it. But I love this thing. I'm happy I bought this thing. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Are you planning on picking this thing up? Do you think it's just meh? Let me know in the comments. I'll also have links in the description on where you can pick this guy up, because it's cool. I recommend getting it. Every link I provide in the description on where you can pre-order this thing or just order this thing in general, they're all places that I bought from before, so there is no fear of, oh, is it a trustworthy site? They're all trustworthy. I've bought them from all of them myself. And that's it for the video. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description, there's going to be my social media. I also recommend checking out my Instagram, because I've done Yu-Gi-Oh photo shoots on there. I have some Yu-Gi-Oh action figures I think you might enjoy. So let me know what you think. Also, I've done reviews on the Ultimagear Millennium Puzzle, and I've also done a review on the Proplica Dual Disc. So if you want to see those, just wait till the end of the video. You can click on either one of those. But thank you so much for watching. I love you guys to death, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. So peace, peace.